Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Cloud the Tank once again. I know it's been like a super long time since I posted any videos on my channel and all that stuff, and I thank you for all the subscribers that are subscribed to the channel itself, and for any of the videos that have been very helpful for all of you. I greatly appreciate you stopping by and whatever, and um, of course, I haven't been posting a lot of videos at all because I'm pretty much like everybody else, like Ritual Chad and all that stuff that basically just like gave up making videos or whatever. Which I don't know on how many of these guys are even still around whatsoever or alive. So, and of course, for what all happened during the pandemic and whatever, there's been a lot of crazy stuff and all that stuff. But yeah, I pretty much did lose interest in posting videos, and I just really haven't done much of anything else with my projects at all. I've been doing like a lot of gaming, Twitch, and VTubing and all that stuff, so I got a whole separate thing which I don't want to get it intermixed with this channel at all. So, cause this is mainly for like my hobbies, for like jukeboxes, playing records, and turntables and all that stuff, and even that little stereo that I posted, which is one of the latest ones that I did, which I did that back in 2022 or something like that. I don't quite remember. It's been quite a bit of time. And also the fixing up a little Fisher Price, or yeah, one of those little kitty record players. Freaking terrible. But anyways, yeah, my life's been quite crazy, and unfortunately, one of my members has got cancer, and he's going through lots of chemo and that, so there's lots of deals going on with that, so there's a bunch of stuff. It's been very stressful, and I'm going to have to basically become in demand of doing a lot of things, and I have to cut some of my other stuff back and all that stuff, but anyways, to get to the main portion of this video, this is going to be just an introduction because I needed to record an introduction, and I was going to use a webcam on this, but unfortunately that's not going to work on this case because my video editing software is getting quite dated and all that stuff, and my cameras are dead, so because I haven't used my video cameras in so long, so they're going to be a while to charge. It's going to take like 3 hours or so probably to charge them, and I got a bunch of batteries. But so I'm recording everything on my cell phone again, like I did for the kitty record player, but I'm trying to do this in 60 frames a second, so I'm hoping this works. I might have to turn it back to 30 frames, but we'll see what happens. But anyways, the main point I want to get to is for what it says for the title of the video, which I'm going to be having it titled as Free Jukebox, posted on Facebook. And so, the one thing I want to clarify and put up on here, because I know there's going to be like a lot of people doing this, but a lot of postings that I have seen on Facebook is like a lot of people selling their old jukeboxes, which, you know, is fine. Some of these people inherited from their folks or grandparents or whatever, and they really don't know what to do with them, and they may not function whatsoever, so they have no idea what's going on, so they want to sell them. But there's quite a few where they always say that they don't work, which is to be understandable, because, you know, these jukeboxes are like 60 plus years old for a lot of them, especially from the early models. I don't see like too many like Miller like jukeboxes from like the 1930s and all that stuff, but I do see quite a few like 60s and 1970s jukeboxes, especially in Rockolas. I see quite a lot of, and a lot of them always say that they don't work and whatever, and yeah, they're not going to work because they're going to need service, because that grease is so old in those, it basically turns into tar. And it's hard for the mechanisms to operate with all that old grease attached to it. You know, everything gets stiff and gets real hard. And, of course, the contacts on the pin bank systems on the Recolas are going to be very dirty and nasty, so they need to be cleaned pretty good. And you need to have maybe some very light sandpaper, probably like 600 grit, maybe a little bit higher. Maybe I think there might be 800s, but I know 600 is one I mostly see. You might be able to do like very light cleaning with those, but definitely have some really good contact cleaner to clean the area, so that way they can make contact. You have to clean not only the board itself, but the pads too. The pads need it because those pads are the ones that's got to run on that track all the time, and it's going to constantly rub all kinds of mildew and stuff and whatever gets built up on it, and it gets real nasty because it's all practically copper, pretty much. And copper tends to turn black after a while. There's a lot of disgusting bacteria and all that stuff that builds up on it, so you got to clean all that up before it makes good contact. If not, it's never going to work. And of course, you're never going to run anything with old grease on it because it's, like I said, it's like tar. It's like super stiff. You can't just run a jukebox like that at all. So, just to keep that in mind. And when it comes to buying a jukebox off Facebook, you're really going to know what you're getting into. You're really going to know. Because if you don't know what you're getting into when you're buying a jukebox off Facebook or even eBay and all that stuff, you're gonna have some knowledge of what is happening. Because a lot of these people that are trying to sell them, they have no idea neither. They just don't know. They just say, oh yeah, it used to work, but now it doesn't, and all this and whatever. It's like, okay, well, you gotta diagnose it. You gotta go step by step. It's like, does the jukebox turn on? Okay. There's just smoking anywhere. Okay. Is there, the fuse is okay? Okay. You have to go through things step by step. And if you don't go through it step by step, then you're just going to get lost and get yourself thrown completely into haywire. Don't know what's going on. So you don't know where to start. As for this jukebox, since this was a free posting on this one, and this is a model 447, the exact same model that I have in my room right now that I still got to work on at some point because I haven't ran in a while, and I know the holder thing needs to be taken apart because the old grease is really starting to catch up on it. It's so stiff it can barely operate whatsoever. It's not operating smoothly like it should. So it needs to be completely taken apart, looped and degreased, cleaned up, re-lubed, and then have the entire mechanism reassembled again. Don't have to worry so much about the amplifier because that should be fine for a little bit more longer, unless something fails in like a filter capacitor or something like that. Then you can probably just figure out what the value is and get that switched out. But right now it's not the major concern. So, but anyways, it's a model 447 jukebox, and this guy had it posted for the trash, pretty much. So it's a free jukebox, free to pick up. All the components were still inside, and the body of it is in a little bit rough condition. I mean, it's been sitting outside, and I'm pretty sure it's been rained on for maybe about a day or so, because by the time I seen it posting, a couple of rainstorms did go through. So, and since this guy is close to Detroit and all that, it probably rained towards out there somewhere. So it got onto it. And so I went ahead and said, okay, let's go pick this. I'll go pick this thing up. Picked it up, and a lot of the particle board was definitely falling apart. The front door itself is very swelled. It swelled up like twice its size, so it barely... I had to freaking kind of tap a hammer just to get the door open. So, and that got out of the way. So, but as soon as I got it home, which unfortunately I don't have no room in this at my place at this point in time, so I had to use my sister's place, which I'm not gonna mention her actual name, but you can actually go by her as Aurora if you want. So I took it to her place and to drop it off in her garage, since I know they don't really use their garage that much, and I was going to use it temporarily until I can get some room here so I can place it somewhere. But when I first picked it up, two wheels were either shoved up or disappeared completely, so there's nothing left there. The power cord's been cut, so I'm assuming that usually the majority of the times when you find like electronics out in the world or whatever that people want to try to get rid of, usually if they cut the power cord, it's either for two reasons. Number one, something catastrophic completely happened and this thing is like beyond repair. Like it smoked or caught fire or something like that, and so they cut the cord so this thing could never be plugged in again. That's one thing. Number two, the reason why they would actually going to cut a power cord is unless you're too freaking lazy to go to like the hardware store or someplace to buy a new cord. And so for an object you know is going to be thrown in the trash can anyway, you may as well just cut the cord so you can use it for something else. So that's the second reason. So it had been one of those two, but as soon as I got it home, I went and examined over it, and I didn't see no smoke damage anywhere. Nothing looks like it caught fire, and I even looked through the main power supply, because that's usually where most of the fire and smoke is going to be coming from. It's out of the main power supply. And I haven't seen anything whatsoever other than there's quite a bit of dust and lots of particle board all over the place because the jukebox is falling apart. And it looks like the wheels, as I said, are still either attached or been removed. And there's huge indentations like it's been slammed on the ground on one side, so the wheels have been tucked into the jukebox itself. But it had the other two wheels, so this thing literally had only two wheels attached, where it's supposed to have four. So the two wheels that were there, gone. So those are completely out of the way. So, and of course, I did not say anything about this in the video when I recorded that you're going to be seeing pretty soon coming up. That I got a 3-foot, but I got a 3-foot board, which I cut into 18 inches in length and screwed 4 wheels attached. So I got 4 large wheels, probably about 3 inches in diameter or so, and screw them onto these boards after I cut it. And this thing is probably about like, I think it was like about a foot wide and about 1.5 inches thick or so. Actually, no, it's actually about 3 inches, about like 3 inches thick or something like that. It's a pretty thick board, so it's enough to where the screws that I put on for the wheels doesn't go all the way through, because they were only like 1 inch, like 2 inches and a quarter or something like that. So it's got, I think it was like a 3-inch board I cut. But I cut it in 18 inches in length, which is about halfway of 3 foot. So I got the jukebox lifted and put it onto that, so that way it's easier to roll around now. It's not a permanent solution because it's not permanently attached to it. The jukebox is basically just sitting on it. So, but because of the particle board the way it is right now, it is easily falling apart. It's probably best to keep this on here for now. And if I was to make it permanent, then I'll have to get a couple more screws or get some bolts to bolt this board onto the jukebox itself, so that way it doesn't budge anywhere. But that's something I might think about, but at this point it doesn't really matter to me right now. So, but the next thing that I did is scan through to see what all I had, and obviously this thing had quite a few tabs in the title strips. They're all written by hand, so there was a lot, and it was mostly old country, western, all that stuff, some rock and roll here and there. It even had a tab where somebody wrote as a joke in there. So, what I think the thing was on, I think it was based on a disco song or something like that. So, and they decided to write a joke on there and said a name on there. But I'm like, oh no, I see my name on there. It's like, oh no. But anyways, But anyways, um, it did have a few coins sitting on the bottom of it, so I went and picked up some of the coins that was sitting on the bottom of the jukebox or whatever. Then, then I've seen at least two broken records, which one was a country record, and another one was a Souls record. I can't remember the name of the artist on top of my head, sadly enough, but anyways, it was still lying in the bottom of the jukebox with half the record like completely shattered off. So it broke it right at the last groove section. So that was just from the first examination. But for the rest of it, before the test fire, I went through the entire fuse box, and I noticed that some of the fuses were not in the right spot. Like, for some odd reason, there was a 25 amp fuse and a 1.6 amp socket. So it made it seem like that somebody was really kind of fucking with these fuses here. And there was at least two fuses that were blown. Two fuses. And so, I can't remember exactly the values on those right off the bat, but I believe one of them was like a half amp fuse that was blown out. But that one's been now replaced. There was a 1.6 amp fuse missing, so that one's now been replaced. I actually took the 25 amp fuse and actually put it in the proper spot, because that is for the main power line input, which goes on top. So they obviously put that in the wrong spot for some frickin' reason. I don't know why. So obviously this person who had this jukebox really did not know what they were doing at all. So, which is probably why they cut the cord. So they thought this thing wasn't working, and they thought they blew it up because nothing was working, because the fuses were not in the right spots, let alone some things were not functioning at all. So they just deemed it dead and threw it outside for anyone to grab for free. So, but I got the fuses straightened out. All those been replaced and all that. So that was out of the way. And so we got. So far what I put into it is brand new fuses, which I put two of them in there, two brand new fuses, and put on some wheels, which is only like a couple bucks or whatever. So. Actually more than that. It was probably about like, I think it was roughly about like 50 bucks or something like that. I can't remember. I know the wheels were kind of expensive. They were like 12 bucks a piece or something like that, because this is coming from a place like Menards. So, and I bought like 8 of these wheels. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, 6, 8. I got 8 wheels plus the board. Plus, I bought a couple other things too, so it turned out to be almost about $100 by the time I left out of Menards. But yeah, so I got all that, and of course, I grabbed some test records to throw in the jukebox itself, and also examining inside the jukebox, the cartridge has obviously been replaced. So the cartridge that's in there is not original whatsoever, unless somehow they broke the one piece that's supposed to say the Shear M44 on it. But it is a Shear cartridge, which is usually what you will find in these Rockola jukeboxes from at least the 1970s up to the 1980s or so. Maybe further along, I'm not too sure, but I think later they switched to Audio-Technica, which Audio-Technica is some really good cartridges. They do some good jobs and all that. And Shear is still around, which they make a lot of stuff for turntables, for DJs and whatever, so everyone's familiar with that. But yeah, so we got all of that. So, so yeah, the Shear cartridge is in there. Obviously, it was not adjusted correctly. So, and as you're going to be watching a video, which is going to be coming up in the next minute or so here, a couple of things that I did point out, I will have to say in this footage. I wasn't paying too much attention to my phone camera, because this is the phone I was using, so the recorder stuff. Some of the angles are going to be pretty bad, so I apologize for the bad angles and all that stuff. And also, at times when I say operation, I'm actually meaning it's being in service mode, not operation. Because service mode is when you have the problems dead center where the jukebox is not going to operate. Because if you track it all the way to the back of the jukebox, it's going to be in scan, which has got an automatic spring on it. When I go into operate, it's going to be in this angle. So when I have it in operation, I'll have it in operation. But I do tend to get service and operation kind of mixed up. So I apologize in that portions of the video itself. But anyways, I'll show you in these videos what all I've been doing so far. And of course, I spliced the power cord, and I will mention, don't do this, because this cord is an old. This is like an old, not like a PC cord, but I think it went for something that's heavy because it's a little bit thicker. But the power cord I put on here is only temporarily. Okay, temporary. Just make sure you keep that in mind. It's a temporary cord which has been spliced together with wire caps, which you usually do to wire up your house at times. And unless you do it in a more professional way, which I ain't no professional whatsoever. So some people might have a more professional methods on when it comes to the junction boxes inside your house and whatever. But this is the basic start, is using your wire caps, the wire stuff, like your wire lights and all that stuff. So I only put these on here temporarily. It will be fixed permanently once I know that everything is a-okay. If everything is a-okay, then it will be a permanent fix, so that way the jukebox could be back in full operation. May not be looking the prettiest, but she'll work. But we'll have you all debate on what you think on what you would do with this jukebox and what you think about this Facebook pickup for free. So somebody else's, as they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So enjoy the video, and when I get a chance to get more stuff in, I'll do another posting. So enjoy the show. All right, we'll see how this goes. This is the Rockola 447 that we're going to be dealing with here. Hopefully I'll put like an introduction video into this thing. I'm not sure. I might do it later. But anyways, yeah, this 447 came from Facebook. So it's a free jukebox, and gotta figure out and see what this thing does at all. Gonna be doing a test run of this. Because right now I got power already applied to this thing, so, and of course I got power in here, so we're gonna see what this bad boy does. And just to show this here, don't keep that permanent. Right now I already got my fuses already installed in this thing, so I'm gonna be seeing what all this baby does here. Let's do a test fire, huh? Oh, lights on.
Lights on in there?
Progress.
Unfortunately, not the other light bulb though.
Huh?
It'll be like a Donnie. Look at the fuse box. I get up and down.
Flip.
Power. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
broken.
Well, obviously. Alright, this thing is in service, so that way it's not doing anything, but
Yeah.
let's try to scan first.
You might want to adjust your feed. Hey, it turns.
Then for a second,
Hopefully there's not a short somewhere else.
don't think so. Okay. Okay, so there's that. Now we need.
Should I sing some DMCA music for you?
Alright, this is only temporary stuff, so. There's a Radio Shack lubrication. Just need to lubricate all the stuff, because it hasn't been ran in so many years. I don't know if I can even get down in there. That's quite far. Not unfortunately, I don't have a needle. Never mind, we got a tube. Got a little tube here? Am I getting this? Okay. Alright. Get that in there. Maybe we can get down to that camshaft down there. Alright, so we want to keep that rolling for a little bit. Kind of like work its way in, is what I could say. That grease is very dry, is what I could say. Very dry. Oh yeah! Of course, one of these cables is hanging a little bit too close to it, isn't it? Alright. Let's put the thing into service. And let's see what it's doing here. Okay, so it's sensing that one of the pins is still engaged, so let's put that back into service. We'll have to check. We'll have to check the switches here. Obviously, this is still engaged.
From that direction, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just remember,
Alright.
hit your back.
I don't know how it's down there.
You know, because you went in at a different angle.
Oh. Like at this angle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you went to throw from like this.
Oh.
And the wind's coming from that way, so some of it will come off and some will take you anyway.
Okay.
Do it from this side. That's what's likely.
Now let's put it back into service. Put it back into operation. See, there we go.
At least
Yeah.
in my eyes,
This micro switch here was still engaged. That's one of the problems here. This thing was a little bit too stiff. Why it's been sitting there for so long. It was stuck on there. So if your Jukebox keeps scanning when in operation, that's probably it. Or one of these pins here is tripped, because it should not spin unless this pin is stripped like this. It should not be doing this if none of these are moving. So. Alright. You say we try to play the record on this thing? Try something? Let's wake up, we got some test dummies. Now when it comes to jukeboxes like this, we're doing test runs, never use anything that's good. Let alone the record that you paid like $500 or something like that for. Use always something that's junk. So we're going to put a couple of broken ones in here. Maybe we'll get like a copyright strike on something. Get a copyright strike. Ha! Be funny. Might be something here. And of course, I want to use a certain record for some bass response. That's gonna be my one good one. So, and of course, I do have another good one, which I have this thing here, which this is just teaching lessons, so it's garbage. Who cares? Okay, let's try to see. Maybe I might do some selections. Who knows? Registering. Hard to tell if this thing is even registering or not. Okay, at least it's registering. Right now I was trying to find it, but the contacts, if I so dirty on this thing, is gonna be a miracle if it finds anything. So, alright, it's already given up. Alright, so let's see, we're gonna try to help this thing out, but we need to get this thing out of the way first. Okay, so let's see, I don't want to choose 100 to be precise. It'd be nice if I actually put you in the right spot, didn't I? Okay, let's go to third one in. Let's choose that one. See what it does. It should be A side. See if it goes through its cycle here. Oh, she's struggling. Okay, it is doing something, but unfortunately the speed is too slow. So I hope to soon. This thing is probably stuck in 33. What it looks like. No trip. There it is.
Cool.
It's having a stroke. Okay, let's check underneath that wheel now. It looks to be possibly. That thing probably needs a lot of lubrication.
Lube it up.
Lube.
Just going on Discord, or is it going on YouTube as well?
It's YouTube. I can't put this on Discord.
Now it should.
Don't take it out of context, YouTube.
Now it should work better.
Yeah.
I don't know how YouTube is. These are bots. So,
Okay, we'll do A and B side here. This thing is just going to be floating, so.
It doesn't even notice.
Yeah, because I want to be sure that this thing's sitting like it's supposed to. What's the need to take this tube here? This thing's probably got crap on it.
Like I said, we should finally put it in. Okay. Looks like that's running good.
Okay, right now I want to do the other selection, which, we'll do it. This way I love it. Make sure it's working that way. Turns out the wires on the cartridge are broken.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so it's causing a grouting issue.
Crap.
Why is it the other way now?
And unfortunately, because of the dipshit who put this frickin' cartridge on here, he's got it too damn low, so it doesn't lift up high enough.
Is there a way to adjust it?
Yeah, this little post on the bottom here.
Yeah.
There's a post on the bottom that's already going to use it because that's a lift arm.
Ah.
You got to extend that out to get this thing to lift. Okay, it didn't put that back, so that's okay. Yeah, that's a switch.
It's dirty.
Dirty.
Which was the only way to clean that? I need contact cleaner, not lube.
Yeah.
Not lubrication.
Stand that up.
But yeah. It's,
Just watch out for the spike.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it does.
yeah, see, there's the broken wire. Unfortunately, I just disabled this frickin' spring on it too. But that's fine. I'm not worried about the spring. I'm not worried about the spring right now. So the next thing I need to do, this thing needs to frickin' come off. which don't quite remember what holds that in, but we'll be back. Okay, so we got a couple more issues we're gonna have to tackle with this poor baby here. One, the rubber grommets for the motor itself, which is why it's spinning slow, are gone. So it's stuck at 33, which is the highest point of the post. And since this thing is a dual speed jukebox, just like my model, this thing has lost the grommet, so it's sitting down lower than it should. And plus, now there's no cushion for the motor. And I'm going to have to get some new wires for this cartridge here, because this thing is got one of its pieces missing, and of course all the wires are broke, so I'm gonna have to get one with fresh new wires and solder the old ones onto it and then tape them somewhere so that way they don't fall off again. But I'll give you a brief demonstration of what this thing sounds like. We're going to be using the Beach Boys song here, and we're testing bass response, so I had to get myself into position. Don't be freaking bassy now. Okay. Now I gotta get my hand underneath where the motor is at. I gotta get it lifted. And we'll get this shot. I don't want to play it for too long because, you know, YouTube has a problem with copyrights, so. DMCA, no! But, yeah, this is to prove that this thing, it does work, but of course it's definitely going to need a little bit more care and all that stuff, so once I get the, rubber grommets in, I'll put the new rubber grommets onto the motor, and we'll get that secure, and we'll get some new hookups for this cartridge. We'll keep using this one, and eventually I'll lift that little post up so that way it can lift up above the record, and also the 1/8 or 1/16 clearance above the gripper, so that way it doesn't hit it whatsoever. So that's gonna be probably in a future video. So we'll see what happens.